Shalom. This is the Sabbath service. Go straight into it, right? Like reading.
Yeah, read everybody.
Comic-Con. We're going to start at Genesis chapter 2, verse 19 through 25. First in the Hebrew, then in the English.
What is it again?
Genesis chapter 2, verse 19 through 25.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua Barakatum, Yahweh Shema, Alatam Hashem, Yahushua. That's all the Akim, all the Akwakim. You understand? This is the Sabbath service. You want to follow along with us? We're reading out of the King James version. You got the Blue Letter Bible app that'll help you follow along in English as well as in the Hebrew. Blue Letter Bible app, you can download it in your app store, or you can go online and just pull it up. And we're going to be starting off in Genesis chapter 2, verse 19. Oyetazar Yahweh Alahayim Man Ha'adama Kal Gayad Ashadah Wa'ah Kal Aywa Hashamyam Oyaba'a Al Ha'adam La'arawa Maha Yakwara'a Lawa Wakal Ashar Yakwara'a Lawa Ha'adam Napash Kaya Hawa'a Shamwa, verse 20. Wayakwara'a Ha'adah Shamawa Makal Habahama Waya'aywa Hashamyam Walakal Kaya Ashidah Wala Adam La'a Mataza'a Izar Kanagadwa, verse 21. Wayapol Yahweh Alahayim the Radama the Radama Al Ha'adam Wayayashan Wayakwak Akah Matazala Aithyawa Wayasagar Bashar Bakathana, verse 22. Wayakun Yahweh Alahayim Hatazalai Ashar Laquak Man Ha'adam La'ashar Wayaba'a Al Ha'adam, verse 23. Wayamar Ha'adam Za'ah Haipa'ain Ma'itazamya Masharya Za'ah Yakwara'a Ashar Kaya Ma'ayash Yakaka Ya'ah, verse 24. Al Khan Ya'izab Ayash Abiyawa Wa'ah Amwa what a bak, what a shafwa, wahayawa, the bashar, akad, verse 25, wayahayawa, shanyaham, irawamyam, ha'adam, wa'ashafwa, wala'ah, yadabashashwa, and that's it.
Now we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 2, verse 19 through 25 in the English. Genesis chapter 2, verse 19 through 25. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. Verse 20. And Adam gave names to all the cattle, and to all the fowl, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was no found an helpmeet for him. Verse 21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, And he slept, and he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. Verse 22. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. Verse 23. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. Verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Verse 25. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
All right, so if you're looking at this, I know the Christian church teach that the Lord put Adam into a deep sleep, and like something supernatural happened, and a woman came from his rib, and all that kind of stuff. That's not what it's saying. What this is talking about is when Adam, when he was in a sleep, just like we all were in a sleep. You see what I'm saying? We were sleeping before we found this truth. You see what I'm saying? And what happened is he chose a woman from his family. That's why I say bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And that's still the same law that we have today, that we're not supposed to deal with people outside of our nation. It's the same principle Adam had here. Adam taught Eve. You see what I'm saying? He taught Eve these laws, statutes, commandments. The Lord gave it to him, and he taught Eve. You understand? And that's how she became that woman that was compatible for him. You see what I'm saying? It's so important to know this, because, how you say, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, she should be called woman. She was taken out of man. Like Adam raised her up. And also where it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. This is how you know there was more people on the face of the earth. Adam had a mother and father. That's why he came up with this law, with this rule, and he said this. Because he himself left his father and mother. If he was the only person on the face of the earth, what the hell is he talking about a mother and father for? You see what I'm saying? So, and then verse 25 will say, and then they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Meaning, when they say they were naked, meaning like they were doing what they were supposed to do, like they were out in the open. You see them doing what they were supposed to do, and they were not ashamed of it. So the way I can liken it to today is, imagine you being in this truth. You see what I'm saying? Like you being in this truth and not being ashamed of this truth. You see what I'm saying? You're naked, you're exposed to everybody else out in the world who may look at you a certain way. Why you do this? Why you do that? You see what I'm saying? But you're not ashamed of what you do. You see what I'm saying? So that's the nakedness that it's talking about, being exposed, but you're being exposed to righteousness. You understand? So that's pretty much what that's talking about.
Now we're going to read Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 7, first in the Hebrew, then in the English.
Genesis chapter 3. Hold on one second. Hey, Slacker, we good. Hey, right. We good. Go down and send me that camera talk. Right. Genesis chapter 3. Verse 1 through 7. Wahanashak, Wahanakash, Hayah, Irawam, Wakal, Kayab, Ashudah, Ashar, Aisha, Yahweh, Alahayim, Uyamar, Al, Ha'ashah, Ak, Kayah, Amar, Alahayim, La'ah, the Akalwa, Makal, Aitazah, Hagun, verse 2. With the Mar, Ha'ashah, Al, Hanakash, Maparia, Aitazah, Hagun, Na'akal. Verse 3. With Maparia, Ha'aitazah, Ashar, with the Wakah, with the Wak, Hagun, Amar, Alahayim, La'ah, the Akolwa, Mamunwa, Wala'ah, the Gaiwa, Hawa, Hun, the Mathwan, the Number one. That's not one. Okay. Verse 4. Wayamar, Hanakash, Al, Ha'asha, La'a, Mawad. The Mathwan. It's like the Mathwan. Verse 5. Tiyab, Yadai, Alahayam, Hayawam. Akalakam, Mamanwa, Wanapakwakwa, Ayanyakam, Wahaya Yatham, Ka'alahayam, Yadaya, Tawab, Warai, verse 6, or the Ra'ah, Ha'asha, Kiyah, Tawab, Ha'aitaza, Lama Akal, Okiyah, Ta'awa, Hawa'a, La'ayanyam, when a Kamad, Ka'aitaza, Ha'aitaza, Lahashakyo, with a quack, Paparyawa, with a call, with a thun, gum, La'ayasha, Aima, we are called. Verse 7. With the Bakwakna, Ayanya, Shaniyaham, or the Iwa, Kaya, Ayaramum, Hum, or the Parwa, Ayla, Ba'ina, or your Aishwa, the Hum, to the Ra. That's it. We're going to be reading Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 7. One through 7 in the English. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Verse 4, and the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Verse 5, but God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eye, and a tree to be desired, to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Hey, so pretty much what's going on is talking about, when Eve, when she got seduced by the serpent, and she ate of the tree, and this, that, and the third. Now the Christian church will have you think that she bit into an apple. You see what I'm saying? And the apple is what destroyed her and destroyed Adam, and took the promises away and things of that nature. That's not true. What happened is that beast or that serpent was a person, was a man. You understand? You got to remember that Adam had just taught Eve. He just taught Eve these laws, statutes, and commandments. So imagine you teaching your woman something, right? And then your woman, another man, come and seduce her. And now he telling her, man, hey, you should be doing this. You shouldn't even be listening to that. You see what I'm saying? You should be doing this. You should be doing. Ain't nothing wrong with celebrating your birthday. You're a queen, mama. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you wanted to start how they do the zodiac signs. You feel me? Like, they all into that now. Imagine somebody coming and doing that to your woman, and then she falling for it. And not only her falling for it, She convincing you that you should start doing it. You understand? That's what's going on with Adam and Eve right now when they ate of that tree. That tree, them trees were other nations. They started taking on the cultures of these other nations. They started celebrating the Christmas. They started celebrating Easter and all these wicked holidays. You see what I'm saying? So that's where we're at right now. It's charging, what's that? Battery. Verse 7. And the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked. Now we just read about a naked where they was not ashamed. That naked because imagine you coming into the truth, right? You come into the truth, people start saying you, they start saying you move different. He don't eat what everybody else eat. He don't celebrate his birthday. You see what I'm saying? It's something different about it. That's a nakedness being like, you're out here, you're exposed, but you're not ashamed of it. You see what I'm saying? Like you keeping God's truth, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. But here it is to say, and the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Now here's the shame and the nakedness that comes when you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You see what I'm saying? Like when you got to go further into whatever sin you in, because you're already different. You see what I'm saying? You know that you're doing wrong. A lot of times people, they got to go deeper into whatever they're doing just to hide themselves. And that's what the scriptures is bringing out. That's exactly what Adam and Eve did. And that's it. You gonna call it, brothers up one by one.
Mario.
You come right here. You not present yourself?
Aliyah, Ben Yahweh, Ben Yasharah.
Aliyah, Ben Yahweh,
Ben Yasharah.
Then you do the salute.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshabarak Thumb.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshabarak Thumb. Sorry.
No.
Hey, Mata.
No, you gonna say
Shashab.
Yeah,
Shashab.
Shashab. Tell them where we at.
We're at Genesis. Now we're going to read Genesis chapter 3, verse 8 through 14, first in the Hebrew, then in the English.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. Yeshemaiah, Pawal, Yahweh, Alahayim, Matahalka, Matahalaka, Bagun, Larawak, Hayawam, Wayadakak, Wayadabaka, Wayadak, Ha'adam, Wayashakwa, Mapunya, Yahweh, Alahayim, Wadawak, Aitazah, Hagun, verse 9. Wayakora'ah, Yahweh, Alahayim, Al, Ha'adam, Wayamar, Lawa, Ayakah, verse 10. Wayamar, Polaka, Polka, Shema'aitya, Bagun, Wa'ayara'ah, Kaya, Ayaram, Anakia, Wa'akba'ah, verse 11. Wayamar, Maya, Hagayad, Laka, Kaya, Ayaram, Atha, Haman, Ha'aitazah, Ashar, Tazawayathiyaka, Labalafya, Akol, Mamunwa, Akala, verse 12. What's that about that?
Verse 14.
Wayamar, Ha'adam, Ha'ashar, Ashar, Nathadah, Aimadya, Hawa'ah, Nathanah, Laya, Man, Ha'aitazah, Wa'akal, verse 13. Wayamar, Yahweh, Alahayim, La Asha, Maha, Za'a, Ashiyah, with the Mar, Ha'asha, Hanakash, Hashiya'anya, wa Akal, verse 14, wa Yamar, Yahweh, Alahayim, all, Hanakash, Kaya, Ashiyah, Za'a, I reward, Atha, Makol, Habahama, wa Makol, Haya, it's like Kaya, Ashada, Al, Gakanka, the lock, Wayapar, the Akol, Kol, Yumya, Kayaya, Kayayaka, it's like Kayayaka, and that's it.
Now we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 3, verse 8 through 14 in the English.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the tree of the garden. Verse 9. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? Verse 10. And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. Verse 11. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree, whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? Verse 12. And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Verse 13. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Verse 14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
I'm a one. So you'll call, tell Uncle Juan, present yourself.
I'm a one.
Hold on,
Amadium. I'm a one. Present thyself at thy registry.
I'm a one. Bunya Howard up. Bunya Sharala.
I'm a
I'm a
one.
one.
Banya Hawada, Banya Sha'ala.
Sha'ala.
Yahweh Shimmy out shot rock thump.
Yahweh Shimmy Ashab Rakatha.
Shabi. Now we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 3, verse 15 through 21, first in the Hebrew, then in the English.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. Wa'ayyaba'a, Ashiyah, Wayanka, Wabayan, Ha'asha, Wabayan, Zara'aika, Wabayan, Zara'ai, Hawa'a, Yeshawapak, Ra'ash, Wa'atha, Ashawapanwa, Aikwa, verse 16, Al, Ha'asha, Amar, Haraba'a, Haraba, Araba, Aitazab, one cup. Aitazab, one cup. Waharanka, Ba'aitazab, the Ladya, Bunyam, Wa'al, Ayashka, Lashawakwaka, Wahawa'a, Yamasho, Bakah, verse 17. Wala Adam, Amar, Kaya, Shema'ai, Lakawal, Ashaka, with the Akal, Man, Ha'aitaza, Ashar, Tazawayatyaka, La Amar, La the Akal, Mamanwa, Arawara, Ha'adama, Fa'iba Warka, Fa'itazabwan, the Akalana, called Yumya, Kayaka, verse 18. Wakwataza, Wadaradar, Matazamyaka, Matazamyak, Laka, Wa'akala, Aisha, Hashada, verse 19, is a Ait, Apayaka, the Akal, Lakam, Ai, Shawabka, Al, Ha'adama, Kaya, Mamana, Lakoka, Kaya, Aipar, Atha, Wa'al, Aipar, the Shawab, verse 20, Wayakura'a, Ha'adam, Sham, Ashakwa, Kawa, Kaya, Hawa'a, Hayatha, Kal, Kaya, verse 21, Ya'aish, Yahweh, Alahayim, La Adam, Wala Ashakwa, Kathanawa, I war, Wayal Basham, Wayal Basham, and that's it.
Now we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 3, verse 15 through 21 in the English.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all.
Hold on 1 second. Hey, listen, this is telling us right now, listen, understand we got our ribs, we got mothers, we got sisters, we got all these things, you feel me? At the end of the day, we serve the Lord first. You know, we serve the Lord because, you know, ain't nothing wrong with celebrating your birthday. It's okay. You see what I'm saying? You can put a tree up. You know, you celebrated when you was a kid. Don't take that away from your kids. They all excuses you're going to hit. You see what I'm saying? We're not supposed to fold to that. The Lord will punish you for that. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to hold on to this truth and we got to serve the Lord. And that's why Adam right now is being cursed. Because he actually listened to that woman and he listened to his wife and started doing the things that she was doing. You see what I'm saying? It's actually supposed to be the opposite way. We're supposed to be teaching our ribs how to be righteous. We're supposed to be teaching them how to serve the Lord. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're supposed to be doing, not listen to our wives and becoming unrighteous, or our mothers or our sisters. You see what I'm saying? Like this, and this is a heavy point because a lot of times brothers gonna fall weak because that woman is pillow talking. You see what I'm saying? She in your ear talking to you, making you feel crazy. You see what I'm saying? And we fold to that. We don't fold to that in here. You see what I'm saying? We follow the Lord. You keep going.
Shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Verse 19, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Verse 20, and Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Verse 21, unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord God make coats of skins and clothe them.
Hey, Slaggy. For the sake of time, we just gonna read the rest in English real quick. How many more we got?
Three.
We got three. I'm gonna start reading them in English. So just tell me where you stop at. All right.
Genesis, we're going to start at Genesis chapter 22, verse 24. And then Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 through 4.
Okay. Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. And the Lord God said, behold, hold on one second. And the Lord God said, behold, this man is become as one of us to know good and evil, and now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Verse 23, therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. Verse 24, so he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Verse 3. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought up the fruit of the ground, an offering unto the Lord. Verse 4. And Abel he also brought up the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Where do I stop at? Complete.
Verse 4. Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 18.
All right. Verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Verse 6. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? Verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. Verse 9. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Verse 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. Verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Verse 13. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Verse 14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. Verse 15. And the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Verse 16. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. Verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. Verse 18. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mahujael, and Mahujael begot Methuselah, and Methuselah begot Lamech. And that's it.
Mariam. This will conclude the service.
Men of Israel, we're going to do a warm courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Mariam. Ahmad Shabbat. Ahmadi. Barak. Yahaba Hashem Yahushua Barakatham. Yadimata Sa. Sisters Ahmadi. Men of Israel, we're going to do a warm courtesy salute to the sister. Men of Israel, Ahmad Shabbat. Ahmadi. Barak. Yahaba Shema Alatham Hashem Yahushua. Yadimata. Class dismissed. Hey, Salaka,